fast and forward. We now looked at a complementary conversational messages solution. And now we go to the traditional solutions of messaging. We'll talk about SMS and the future of SMS. So many things are changing around it. So what's in the future of one of the surprising services, but also one of the surprising second life of the services? Business messaging has really grown and very nicely. Now, the good news is you're not going to be listening from me and the dry discussions that I might have about it, but we're going to have some of the people that are really working on the different topics. We're going to have, and I'm going to call them, and I see almost by magic, we have seats for them as well. But please, Vivian Jones from the VP of LATAM for Infobip, come along. Come and share the stage, as well as Jason Choy, the Director of Partnership, Communication Products and Services for EMEA and LATAM at Google. So please come, Jason, as well. And I don't see them, but they'll magically appearing. I can see. And oh, you're going to be talking. So we have Tatiana, right? Yes. So this is a bit of a last-minute presentation. Welcome, Tatiana. And I'll ask Tatiana to present herself very soon. But come and join. Come and take your seat. And Vivian here, please come. Next, we're going to have Leonardo Kenjii, the Commercial Performance Senior Manager at Vivo, here from Brazil, playing on the home turf. And also playing from the home turf, we have Rafael Pellon, the board member at MEF, as you would know it, as well as a lawyer at Pellon Advocados. Four of you, thanks for joining us, and thanks for coming and talking about one of the hot topics. So I think we got, it already says time's up, but it's not true. We have a lot of time here to go into quite a lot of details as well, because this is one of the exciting areas which has really grown into billion-dollar companies and really successful ones, and has got promises of new development. So here we go. I had promised Tatiana a little introduction to herself because I didn't do any. Can you say apologies for two people that are missing here today? But we are in the post-COVID, so we are flexible and used to that. Jason couldn't make it, but he did make it to this morning, but he was already unsure if he could take it all this until now, so Tatiana is jumping in. And Yuri Fiaskin, which is from Infobip, was supposed to be here with us, but got stuck in a US airport. So as you can see, traveling is difficult nowadays. But Tatiana, can you say a couple of words about yourself?
So thank you for the invitation. I'm not Jason, as you can see, but I'm representing Google. I'm working for Jason's team. I apologize, he was not feeling well this morning. But I think it's good to have a girl in a panel with all these guys to bring a feminine view of the RCS and the messages. So thank you for the invitation. I think that's it.
Thanks for being here at the last minute. We love that. Thank you for the flexibility. So as I was saying, we were talking with Yuri before he couldn't make it, but and Yuri was saying there is a presentation that he really appreciated and liked at the MEF RCS World event. So thanks for a little plug of another event that we've done, and so we liked it very much. And here is a presentation. Now I don't want to take you through the entire presentation, so many of you might have seen it. But I think it's a good starting point for our discussion as well. As a matter of fact, I would like to go through the slides and then ask you to comment, if you're okay with that. And so let's have a look. When we looked at this data, it was kind of reassuring and rewarding for the SMS world. Apps have been there and have been a great success, and long live the apps. But the apps are not necessarily meeting all the needs. As you can see from the slides, there is something that is not necessarily working for everybody in terms of how much you want to download them, how much you're going to be using them all the time, etc. And it's not just that. When you look at the messaging penetration in a wider perspective, social media, SMS is doing particularly very well. Let's say it. So it might be an old, mature service, but look at the life of SMS and the relevance. Email is probably the one that stands out, which might have higher preference, promotional channels, customer preference. How would you like to receive your message, so to speak? But we know also that email has a bit of a difficult life. in terms of spam and frauds, etc. Now, to you, and I probably ask Vivian as a starting point. I mean, this is an Infobip presentation, but Infobip as a global player, you have a real perspective, not just of LATAM, but all of it. So if I can just tell you, what's the health of the status of SMS? We hear in business messaging, we hear of fundamental changes in the networks, we hear of competition from other solutions. What's happening out there?
Yeah, good morning. I think when you see these kind of figures, we as a company need to understand that we need to be where the customer is, So in that case, you see the numbers, but at the end, it's not depend only on the age of the customers or where they do or where they are, but which is the preferred channel that they want to communicate with the enterprises. So in that case, we as a company need to understand that we need to deliver the correct message at the right time in the correct channel. So in this case, you see we have a lot of apps in our cell phones, but we never use it. And then we don't want to download any other app to communicate with the companies. So in this case, we see that we are most of the time texting in the communication apps, like many of you can use, but at the end, a lot of messaging proposals that are in the market. So saying that, we need to build that correct message and try to deliver in the preferred channel of the customers of our customers. So in this case, bringing all the customer journey and interact with them in all the customer journey, from the engagement to the advisory, to the sale of a specific product, and then the support that this kind of customer need when they already buy any product. So it's important in this case to say that we at Infobip are helping our customers, our B2B businesses and B2B2C businesses to communicate the correct message in the preferred channel, and how we can approach this messaging trend in order to see that customers are communicating each other through this type of solutions, and how we can interact with them in all the channels. But not only because we have all the channels, we will have the correct communication with them. We need to include an Omni-Channel Strategy, which means that it's not only to communicate through all the channels, but have just one conversation through with the customer. Doesn't matter which channel do you will use.
So you're saying follow, not the money, as I said before, but follow the customers, what they really want and what matters.
Exactly.
Well, let's see some of the customers here in Brazil, because we have the pleasure to have Leonardo from Vivo, now the actual operator that delivers so much of that. So what's your perspective? What's your feelings for SMS business messaging right now?
Okay, thank you, and good morning. I think the SMS market is still growing in Brazil, and in the last 2 years with the pandemic, there is an increase and a boost in the demand of SMS for the companies. So I think it's an effective channel. I know that the companies need to have different approaches and an omni-channel solutions for dealing with your clients. But as a channel for mainly for a one-way direction, when you need to talk with your clients, and it's not necessary to have a broader interaction, I think SMS is a very good solution, cost effective, and it's still growing in the market, the demand. And the last 2 years showed us that the demand of SMS for the brands contacting their clients, it's a very important channel. It's not the unique channel. All the companies use different channels to communicate, but SMS is, I think, it is still an important channel to communicate from the business to their clients.
At one point, I refer to business messaging as a secret success because so many people in the industry had not realized how big it was. But it feels that it's not a secret anymore. It's out there and it's growing and it's very big. Back to the presentation and back to what Yuri was asking me to do, because I think it's, in terms of the SMS, there are some challenges that could be turned into opportunities. And the value of messaging conversation, you could say, is definitely there, but customers are also expecting a higher level of interactions and features out there. Convenience is very important, and for convenience is the level of richness, I think, as well. Seamless experiences. We actually seen the questions before, somebody already asking experience between two different operating systems, Apple and Google. But the same here is one experience that actually makes sense across. So a lot of things are happening out there. And this is what we have right now, the SMS, which is fantastic for its fantastic for its superior penetration of a simple way to deliver, but not the richness platform that we have. And this would be the right time maybe to introduce Tatiana as well, because while we heard from Caio before being on the Google Business Messaging team, you are still in Google, but championing the RCS element. And before I can ask anything else, quick test. Do you know RCS? Raise your hand. I can't see very well, but I'll have to do that. Yeah. Oh, whoa. I would say it's way over 50%, 60, 70%. You've done a good job, Tatiana, as a start. But tell us a bit more. I mean, this is the point where we see that SMS is ready for enrichment, of all of these things we are seeing behind us on your screen, or if you're watching at home in front of you, in your palm, on your iPad or phone. What is RCS, and what can it offer to business messaging today?
So the first thing is RCS is for rich communication service. I think there are many ways for brands to reach the customer, like many channels they can reach the customer. But as Leonardo said, after the pandemic, I think the customers, they have been receiving many messages on email, on SMS, these kind of things. And they want to have more personalized communications. So I think RCS is a good channel for this, because SMS is still a good channel for brands to communicate with the consumers, but it's a technology that was created 20 years ago. So we need to evolve, and I think RCS is a protocol of the industry and can bring these new features. For example, brand verification. Sometimes when you receive a message on SMS, it's just a short code, but for spam purposes, that the brand that is talking to you is the same brand. You have the logo, you have rich carousels, you have smart replies. So you have better features, and the brands can use these features to have better communication. They can understand what kind of rich cards the consumers are clicking on, correct the campaigns during the sessions, understand you have better metrics. And if we compare message sending by emails or SMS, we have much better engagement. So I think the word here is engagement. We just announced on Math in Ireland that we reached 5,100,000 RCS users, and we expect to grow it globally. So I think it's a good channel for brands to invest.
And I'm going to probably put words in your mouth, but I remember also in Dublin at the event, an expectation that 1 billion mark was going to be hit in 2023. So we are seeing a very considerable growth in RCS right now. Good. So I hope those that didn't raise their hands, show me now. Do you feel ready and empowered? I don't see any hands up. Yeah, well, I've got a couple. You feel better in terms of knowing what's out there. Well, all very good. Let me point out that something that SMS has not been. I mean, we need to be fair and transparent. SMS has not always been perfect for some things. Maybe email, I was telling you before, has got a worse situation. But fraud, we heard about smishing, we heard about spam. How do we make sure that doesn't apply? And we have here one of a member of our board and somebody that has campaigned. So Rafael Pellon. Can you tell us a bit more what's happening globally, but also in Latin America, about these two unfortunate elements that we have to compare in any marketing situation, but in SMS specifically?
Yeah. Bom dia para todos that are online and here at the theater. Bom dia. Well, Brazil has surpassed Mexico in May as the country with the biggest amount of digital fraud online, mostly because of the pandemic. So yeah, we are now the winners in terms of digital fraud. Of course, that relates to digital identity. How do we actually create legitimacy for people who are trading, marketing, or doing anything online right now? So, like, how do we prove that you're actually you, and how a business prove that they are actually them? SMS has a lot of trouble doing that. Anatel, which is the telecom regulator in Brazil, is now with their eyes really focused on fighting fraud in the country. We started with robocalls, and they tackled it in the past 2 months. It's still a fight that is going on. Once this is addressed, they are moving towards fraud in messaging as well. And although Anatel doesn't have, like, legally speaking, the legitimacy to go against and regulate VAS business in the country, they have a mandate and they have a lot of pressure from all sorts of stakeholders to actually try to lower the numbers of frauds and create better ways for people to communicate as well, especially when we are talking about conversational business and so on, what we've been talking so far on the event. Because of that, yeah, the time has come, guys. We need better tools. SMS has run its course. I know it's the backup of everything. When we don't have WhatsApp, Telegram, name your messaging app of preference. When everything fails, we go to SMS. Everyone kind of relies on it when 4G, 3G is not working. I'm not going to talk about 5G now. But yeah, like, we need better tools, and we need, if we are talking about talking and conversational business and the business messages that Google Kyle was talking about, when we go out of this environment of apps, we still need better ways to do it. And as Vivian was mentioning, like, people move during the day amongst their apps, right? So I can start a conversation in a website or an app, and then who here doesn't start a conversation in a website and then moves towards a conversational app, and then moves towards email, and then gets everything by email, and then approves it via WhatsApp. So yeah, we are messy people. So how do we understand and talk with all of these people? When do we create legitimacy for this? And what are the better tools? RSS is way better than SMS on this way. And we are still seeing a lot of frauds going on WhatsApp, and SMS is the second messaging means, the second message channel in terms of fraud, losing only to WhatsApp right now. So we still need to improve it.
Well, the topic does have resonance. Already see question from one from Rafael Rodriguez Luca that says, what are the mobile operators doing to prevent fraudsters in SMS? And that's the questions I'd like to tell. First of all, we're going to have a sessions later on from the campaign registry showing what the model has been in US. So please look up whether the operators have done something. In Europe, we actually, as MEF, helped some of the operators doing something. In Singapore, they're doing something else. So there are lots of things available for some of the market to start reacting. And then the question probably indirectly to Rafa right now, but also to Leonardo or to Google as well, in Tatiana. Do you want to say something of what you're preparing? Are you working on something else? I saw Leonardo was touching the microphone, so he gets it first, but then we'll follow with Tatiana and Rafa next. Please.
Well, the term of fraud, it's a problem of... it's a very complex problem. Mainly, it's a security problem that the government needs to deal with this kind of crimes, but the operator and the brokers and all the stakeholders that are involved in the ecosystem has some opportunities from the operator's perspective. There are systems that can be improved in terms of anti-spam and policies. That's a complex problem that needs to have a coordination between the agency, the security, the security from the government, the operators, and the aggregators to mitigate the risk of fraud in this kind of channel. But mainly, it's the frauds. It can be like a malware, a virus, or social engineering technique exploring this kind of channel. So it's a complex problem. Operators has their policies, and they are all increasing, monitoring, and increasing their capabilities to prevent fraud. But it will never end because the models of fraud are very very creative, and when you close one door, maybe they open others. So it's a continue movements that all the stakeholders in this ecosystem needs to improve. Thanks,
Leonardo. Tatiana,
So I think for RCS, saying about RCS, we have a great opportunity here. Because, for example, what I see from SMS is like most of the fraud, these kind of things are like MSSDN that sends you a message that you don't know if you are talking with a brand or not, or a short code. And I think we have this opportunity with RCS because you can have the brand verified, and you know that the brand that is talking to you or that is sending this message is the brand. Who verifies the brands are the carriers. So they have to check the brand. They have to understand that the brand that's sending you the message is the correct brand. So a bank, for example, if they send you an information, you know that it's your bank that is sending this information. So I think regarding security, RCS has superior features for you to identify the brands, not just a short code. And I think could bring some security, especially for financial services of the brands that wants to send message and the user to feel more safe, because sometimes the user they don't want to use like other apps or personal channels to receive some kind of communication, but they prefer to receive these messages on SMS or RCS. So it's a good opportunity for brands to increase security features.
And behind us, if you're looking at the presentations, there is a verified sender on the top, a little mark, confirmation that this company has been checked by the operator or some others. Vivian.
Just to complement on this one, because it's great approach, and is how when you see, for example, the financial services industry, most of the banks need the other way, is how they identify that are the guy who are below the other side of the communication. So how both sides trust each other, and in that way we are working so close with all the MNOs in order to validate the customers as well, because it's true that me as a customer need to trust in the brand in the other side, but when you have transactions, when you have commerce transactions or financial transaction, the company need to validate if the customer is who is saying. So in that case, how we can validate the fraud around SIM swap, or how we can make some silent mobile verifications through the MNO network without any friction with the customer, but when you can, as a company, trust on that customer and make possible the transaction, or for example, in a bank, any kind of transfer money, or when you see any kind of insurance company trying to sell some car insurance or something like that, you need to validate, obviously, if this is the customer, because we are talking about money, obviously.
Which reminds me exactly what you were saying, that the Infobip is turning to multiple things, and one of them is actually securing these transactions and enriching the transaction. And that's going to be sessions later in our Portuguese program, where we're going into details about what's happening here. So thanks for reminding me. And a couple of words from Rafa, or to close the...
words.
Yeah, you only have 2 words, 1 or 2.
Hi.
Second one.
Yeah, we have to work on legitimacy, ID verification. That's where we are right now. In the angle of regulation, the problem is how do we prove that you are yourself? Cell phone, the mobile phone has been used for that for 15 years now. But now that everyone is online, everything is online, we still need some form of verification. So I don't remember the acronym, the H2P messages, all of the ways for people to actually verify that they are themselves. This is always something that we're going to have all the time right now. We even have like banks trying to validate where you are by sending you a message that you have to respond and seeing the metadata on it right now. So you are actually where you say you are. I don't need for you to confirm that you are yourself, but where you are. So SMS has these creative uses that we are still seeing.
Well, I think it's time for me to move to some more of the presentations, back to what we were talking about. Actually, we covered some of this stuff. This is a good element, which is RCS is an Android native solution. So that's an Android, specifically in LATAM, has got a fantastic presence. And these are some of the RBM subscribers number, from monthly active users to how many devices are there. We're talking about billions of devices with the RCS in there. But I think more interesting with this slide, really, it's this one, which is what's the return on investment or engagement, as Tatiana mentioned it before. And look at those numbers. They're pretty impressive. This is not my presentation. I should just turn around and ask Vivian to comment on these. So, Vivian, these are your campaigns. This is what Infobip has delivered. It's almost unbelievable to see 150% higher response rate, or 130% engagement, etc. How does it happen? Tell us about this ROI. Should we believe it? Is it so good? Which is, I need to ask for that. Is it really happening?
Yeah, absolutely. When you see, and I mentioned before, we need to communicate with the customer in their preferred channel, not in our preferred channel. So when you see companies sending a lot of SMS, for us is like 80% of the volume of communication through SMS, because they understand that the delivery rate is so high, so approximately 98% of delivery rate in SMS, but they are not thinking about the experience of the customer. So they need to put in their customer shoes and understand that we have these kind of numbers. So when you see the customer want to communicate through messaging, of course, but then they want to be in a two-way communication. So when you see an SMS, it's mostly one way. Obviously, you have maybe an URL to a landing page, but it's not the same. It's like the multimedia part that they engage better, and obviously the conversion rate, the response rate increase, but at the end, the money is in the conversion rate. So how you understand as a company that if you use RCS because the customer want it and the customer engage better and you will be converting more, is obviously a return on investment. And I just put some additional information. When you have a traditional marketing campaign with your segments, you will return maybe 5%. But when you add to the same campaign, not only the segment, but the context of the customer, and we already mentioned something around that. For example, if you send me an excellent promotion, for me I like it, but I need to redeem in Colombia where I live, maybe right now is not the correct time to send me because I am here in Sao Paulo. So the geographic information, the time of the day, the weather are contexts that maybe change the behavior of the customer. And last but not least, the preferred channel. So when you have the correct segment with the context and the right channel, you will increase from 5% in return to maybe 20 to 25% on return on investment. So it's 5 times the return and the conversion that you will have.
Well, great. Let me raise your hands if you have questions, because I can already see if you have some, because they're online, they're doing well. There was a question before which I waited until now. I was saving it for Tatiana. It's another slightly lower question, because we know that Brazil and Mexico are two of the highest success, probably India as well, but in terms of RCS deployments, so well done. But here is a question from an anonymous who says, for the Brazilian market, what's missing in RCS right now? So there is a kind of a slightly negative tinge in there, saying that maybe things are not moving as fast. Tatiana, tell us what's missing, because these are great numbers. Why isn't everybody using RCS right now?
So I have here partners. I have here Vivo to confirm me and to complement me as well.
We'll go there. Yeah.
So what I think is that RCS for Brazil and Mexico are the key markets for Latin America for RCS. I'm not saying the other markets are not key markets, but we have a great number in terms of users, and I think we have a great experience, and we need to get brands on board to test the channel and to see this kind of results, because maybe some of the communication that they are doing are not the correct message or not the correct channel or not the way that the consumer wants to respond. So I think the brands should not consider only the numbers or reach, but how we can increase ROI, how we can increase engagement. This is the step. So we are working very close with the carriers in Brazil, with the partners in Brazil, to create use cases for the brands to test, to see the engagement, to see the response rates, and to see the conversion. So I think we are working to get more use cases and more brands engaged and using the channel.
So you were calling Leonardo there from Vivo, and I'll have to say, what can you add? What more can be done to speed up RCS deployment?
Okay.
Or take up?
Okay, thank you. I think there are some challenges that we have to promote RCS in Brazil, and I will talk a little bit about that. One, I think it's what Tati said about awareness. So from the brand's perspective and even from the consumer perspective, it's very important to have use cases and contact with the technology to understand the whole potential. And I think the RCS has a huge potential in Brazil in a lot of use cases. It's not only a use case for marketing campaigns or sales, that it's maybe more the SMS industry. Of course, it's a very good channel to promote campaigns, but it's also, there are use cases that you can use as customer care. It's a huge case because customer care, it needs interaction with the clients. And although we can think of customer care as a reactive channel that the user starts the conversation with the brands, maybe through contact center or even through apps or websites, you can derivate these sessions to RCS and have a very good user experience with RCS. That's maybe in conventional channels, the user experience is not that good, or the user doesn't have his pain points solved. So the implementation of the RCS and the mindsets that you develop the journey, it's very important, and we cannot consider this point in terms of implementation, because if you implement an RCS solution, for example, in customer care, with the mindset of digitalizing what you have, the current solution, that's not probably going to be a good user experience. You need to redesign the journey, implement some features or aggregate value to these chatbots in order to have a very good experience. And that are some use cases that we are proving in Vivo. So it's a very good channel for promoting, for sales, but also for relating with your clients as a customer care example and a use case. So I think in Brazil, all the operators are using a lot of RCS to promote their brands and relate with their clients, but maybe we are missing some big cases from other industries that I think it's very near to have these use cases in the next months.
More use cases and more business models says everything is exciting, developing. Was I right? There was a question. Yes. Could you introduce yourself? And yeah, don't worry. We'll get you. There we go.
Hi, my name is George Alonso. I work for a company and we do provide services for 2 MNOs in Brazil, TIM and Vivo. We started the project with TIM for RCS a few months ago. Last month we sent about 200 million RCSs. And I've been to Vivo. I talked to Daniel Bernardes, well, you may know him or not. And we were comparing the rates, and they said, well, we have rates about 50% of delivery. And the problem is, Google recommends you to do the capability check at least once a month, because having an Android phone doesn't grant you, ensure you're going to receive the RCS. So we adopted the waterfall process. We send the RCS, but in case of failure, we send the MMS. In case of failure, we send the SMS. So that increased the delivery rate to more than 85%. So this is why Vivo is doing it. We're doing a proof of concept with Vivo right now with Daniel Bernardes for Terra. So I'd like a comment about it, because is there any action Google is going to take? Because you may have older phones. You may have phones not authorized to receive RCS. So this is one of the breaking reasons that TIM adopted the waterfall process. So it's kind of a question statement. I'd like a comment about it.
Fallback mechanism. Tatiana, I don't know if you want to pick it up, or also Leonardo is...
I think we have a great number of RCS users in Brazil. It's true, it's working for Android messages, and I think fallback on SMS is a good option. So we have a capability check, so if the user is a RCS user, you can send the campaign with better features, you can have read and receive reports, and so, but once you don't reach the user, you still can use like other channels like SMS as a fallback as an option to reach that user. So you're gonna have 100% reach either on RCS or SMS. So it's a good way for fallback.
And Leonardo,
I think we
and
have,
Vivian?
the next slide can support this answer. Because one more, maybe. No, I think it's at the end. But just to complement, it's in that way. So when we detect, we need obviously this omni-channel platform that I mentioned, because we need to understand if the customer is an RCS customer or not, and if not, you can decide in the platform how to communicate with the other customer that you can reach with RCS. Maybe in the customer, if it's an Android customer but without the RCS platform, you can go through the solution that Caio presented before with the Google Business Messages, or is an Apple customer, you can go through the Apple Messages for Business, which is the other solution for Apple customers, or with
could you close?
With SMS. So in that case, you can decide if you use Google Business Messenger for the other Android customers. You can use Apple Messages for Business if it's an Apple customer, or you go through SMS or another channel. You can decide on which channel the customer have to complete the 100% of the scope.
Like fallback solutions.
Exactly.
Well, I think we're going to be running out of time very shortly, so I need to go back to the original title. We were asking about the future of business messaging. So I'll give you 10 seconds, 20 seconds, probably 5 actually, to think about in a few sentences what's going to be the future. Let's share with us, what do we need to prepare for? And who would like to go next? Let's see, but Leonardo, you're the first one. What do we need to prepare for the future of business messaging? What's out there?
Oh, I think RCS is, there's a huge potential in Brazil. So it's complementary to SMS. For example, we are introducing a new tariff in the market, which is basic tariff, which has the same limitations of 160 characters as SMS, but has the same price as SMS. So all the brands will be able to experience the RCS in their campaigns of SMS, and that generates awareness to this new technology, this new channel, and opens the possibilities of chatbots and more interactive ways of dealing with your clients. And I think all these interactive features that we can develop in chatbots and in the messaging industry, there's a lot of benefits, a lot of use cases, not only sales, customer care, even HR and the marketing solutions to increase productivity of your employees or training, education. So there are a lot of use cases in the messaging industry, and we are very excited to experience and promote this new technology.
Thank you very much. Tatiana, I suspect something will be about RCS, but could you tell us in 2 sentences what's going to be the future?
So I think for the future of RCS or message, I think the customer wants a more personalized communication, interaction, and I think we have 5 million active users. The number are growing, and the users, they want to have a better communication with the brands. So I think RCS is a good channel. So from the presentation, we could see like results. So in one word, I would say that it's a very good channel for engagement, and I think the brands should start using to see the results.
Engagement, there we go for one word. Vivian, I'd like you to tell us from a point of view of Infobip, what's coming?
I think with the personalization part, as you mentioned, I want to add the micro-segmentation that we need as a company to obviously send like one-on-one messages and hyper-personalization is the future, because the customer want to be a customer, not just a number in a database. So when you see this and you use a lot of analytics to micro-segmentate the database, and then hyper-personalize the offer to the customers, you will have much more return on your investment. And obviously, as I mentioned many times, you need to have an omni-channel strategy, because the customer will need to be where the customer is, and the customer change during the day, change from any channel to another, so they want to receive the correct answer where they are. So we need to be there with the proper offer for them. And when I say offer, it's not only a marketing part, but obviously helping the companies to sell the products when the customer engage, but at the end, the support, because I think it's the most important part, because when you support properly the customer, you transform him from a customer to a fan of your brand. So I think there is the future, how you can engage the customer in a proper way in all the customer journey.
Well, we've heard about new business cases, we've heard about engagement, micro-personalizations, but overall is follow your customers as well, where choices. The time is up, but my boss is here, and I think I should leave him the last words. You know, I have to look after myself. But seriously, Rafa, what would you like to summarize what's happening in the future?
Talking about a customer now, better bots, better UX, video and voice to use on the conversations, security improving, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you. And thank four of you. So it's thanks to Leonardo, to Tatiana for the last minute present. Thanks to Vivian, thanks to Rafael, and thanks to to Yuri, which is probably following us online right now, as well as to Jason that couldn't make it. So thank you all. Big round of applause for the four of you.